You never asked me, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Here's how I got over you. I sat by the water. I watched the moon bounce off the waves, and I eavesdropped on people's conversations near me. My friends brought me ice cream and cursed your name. I showered a lot, sometimes twice a day, as though I could wash what we had done off of my skin, as if I could pull your words out of my ears so I never heard them. I drove. I played a few songs, only 3, over and over and over, and I screamed the words to them, hoping that in some strange way you could hear me, that you'd hear my crying, my pleading, that you'd feel the pain that I was feeling. My raw vocal cords as they called your name. I drove. I kept driving. I drove until the tears blocked my vision and I had to pull over. I stared at the moon. I asked God why he was doing this to me. Why did he give me this heart, this capacity to love, to cherish, only to take away a person who I thought felt the same? I still haven't heard back. I typed, I texted, I asked everyone I knew who had ever loved someone what they thought. Why did he do this? What did I do wrong? I read a lot, like an embarrassing amount of love stories. I bought a lot of books, even though it definitely was not a good financial decision. I read lots of stories about men who chose their women despite their fears, who came running back, who begged to be in their lives, and it made me realize that I deserved that. Maybe not from you specifically, but from whoever I ended up with. I pulled tarot and oracle cards like a crap ton. I kept asking questions that the universe couldn't or wouldn't give me answers to. These were questions that could only be answered by one person, and they were not questions I was willing to ask. It just didn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense. It would undo any kind of progress I was making to tell you how I felt. It just didn't add up in my brain. And honestly, sitting here, I'm thinking it didn't really add up in yours either. But I kept asking the universe. There was a lot of whys in there, a lot of whens, a lot of what ifs. But after a while, the universe's answers became silent. It fell away, the cord between the two of us weakening. As every why got softer, the universe's voice was quieter too. I had to just trust it. I had to trust all of it. I pet my cat a ton. She was definitely sick of me, but I love her so much, and her fur made me almost fall asleep a lot of the time. Her little purrs and heartbeat kept me so present when all I wanted to do was think. All I wanted to do was go back to the past. I ate my favorite foods until I felt sick. I threw up, and then I did it all over again. I had nightmares. In the middle of the night, I'd wake up calling your name and reaching for your skin next to me, and you wouldn't be there, even though for those few delirious minutes between sleep and being awake, I really thought you were. I'm embarrassed to admit that, extremely, but what if there's someone out there feeling this exact same way? I need to be there for them. Because I needed someone to be there for me when you walked away. I hung out with my friends. I worked at my job. I laughed. I cried. A fucking lot. I watched cringe reaction videos from my favorite YouTubers so my chest wouldn't ache so much. I looked back at nostalgic videos and photos and video games to remember how much of me existed before you. How much deeper my identity goes than what we experienced together. I wrote a lot of things that I didn't send. I called you an idiot a lot. I hugged people I loved. But at the end of the day, when the world got really, really quiet and no one was filling the silence, I was left with myself, with my thoughts. And I asked myself, truly, did I regret any of it? Is there a single thing I would have done differently? And the answer was a resounding no. I wouldn't have done a single thing differently. I wouldn't undo what happened. I wouldn't have changed how I handled it. And I'm extremely grateful for what I got to experience with you, regardless of how it may have turned out. I'm grateful for how my perspective changed because of what we shared. So, at the end of all of it, as short or as long as it was, as deep or as shallow as it may be, I'm glad I did what I did. I'm glad I met you. Who knows? Maybe a long time from now we'll reconnect. Maybe this isn't the end of our story. But what I do know is that for now, it's time for me to say goodbye. Even if it's a little bit later than you did. To live with the grief, and eventually I'll move on. So thank you for all of it, as hard as it is right now, because it brought me back to myself, the real true love of my life. I have so much more certainty now in who I am, how beautiful I am, how kind, caring, funny, how loving I am, how I am a dedicated, loyal partner and person who is meant for a lot of beautiful things in this life. And it's okay. It will be okay. I will be okay. And whatever's next, it will be beautiful because I make it that way. I still think you're an idiot, though.
I never doubted a single one of those things you said about yourself. That you couldn't handle a relationship, that you're not a beautiful woman, an all-around beautiful woman, and that you're not a good person. I never doubted a single one of those things ever in my life. I knew you were mature enough to handle this shit. And when you grappled this man and you came talking to me, talking about some said shit. But hey, it was a beautiful thing. And you know, like I just said, Rome wasn't built in a day. And perfection is just a bunch of imperfections that make up perfection. Imperfectly perfect, ups and downs, Rome wasn't built in a day. Motto for this whole thing.